Welcome.
Welcome to the Gaming with Scissors podcast.
I love it!
All right, hello and welcome to the Gaming with Scissors podcast. This is our first podcast, and we're gonna mess it up.
Wait, no, this is not the first podcast. This is our, I guess.
This is our first podcast
as this group. This is
Okay.
in 2.0. It's
All right.
version 2.0.
This is second edition. So I thought it might be a good idea, since if you are listening to this, you may not know who we are, to go over who we are. I figure we should probably start with the guy that owns the site. So Sean, if you want to go ahead.
Hey, I'm Sean, and I own NerdLife. I own all the NerdLifes. That's it. That's my introduction.
All right. You're also Rancor. You go by Rancor
No,
on the internets.
I'm a nerd. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Nick, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Nick. Go by Zero Ping, and I'm a gamer. There you go. That's it.
All right. And I am Matt. I go by NitroWeasel3K. That's all there is to me. There's nothing else to me.
You're literally just a floating head and a name.
I'm a floating head and a name, and also one of the only parts of this group that don't live in Texas, and Nick being the other part. so
I live in no Texas.
I live in Texas. So, so we recently switched from Gaming with Scissors to NerdLife. That's why we decided to stick with Gaming with Scissors for this podcast, because we're going to cover mostly games in this. And if it goes well, maybe we'll branch out and do other things later on. But for now, we're going to stick with Gaming with Scissors for this particular podcast. Sean, do you want to talk about maybe why we switched from one to the other?
Well, first, let's be honest. And the reason why we're called Gaming with Scissors is because I got some T-shirts I need to sell, and it would be stupid not to use the name. And I have a closet full of them. That is reason one that we're keeping this name. But anyway, no. I really what it was I always found myself wanting to write about other random nerdy things on the website, and it didn't fit what we were doing. So instead of me making a whole nother website I can put my thoughts down, I made the excuse that I feel like we need to have a change in direction. So this was the change in direction, so I can satisfy my own personal nerdiness. And
you on the site, so none of us say shit about it.
Exactly. I'm king of the castle, so I was just like, hey, we're also going to talk about board games and movies that I like. So that's what I guess it came down to.
Hey man, that's fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the end of that conversation. No,
thank you everybody for listening.
Yeah. First of all, buy a T-shirt.
Maybe there'll be a link.
I don't even think we have an e-commerce site up for.
No, I'll just mail you one. Just email me and I'll mail you one.
Find one of us in person. Look our pictures up online, and then ask us for a T-shirt. Yeah. And I have one that I wear, so I'll just give you the one off my back.
The dirty, it's like it just has bleach stains and food all over it.
Just sweat and beard hairs that just look like pubes. Just horrible.
No.
With the new flip, it was nice because I like terrible movies, so I get to write about those. And Nick is a new addition. He was never part of it when it was Gaming with Scissors, and he knows a lot about hardware. And he's kind of a hardware geek in that respect. Not just like PC hardware, but he likes console hardware and stuff too, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. So we just thought it would work out better if we just kind of switched over to general nerdery, and we went from there. So in trying to be professional, we did come up with a few things we wanted to talk about, and I thought that first of all, we could talk about what kind of game related stuff did you guys do this week? Like, what were you playing this week? What are you excited about? Sean, if you want to go first.
I have been doing very little. I have spent my whole week trying to get out from a pile of work, but I have been playing basically just Conan and Overwatch. That's the only things that have been encompassing my life this week. But that's pretty much the standard for every week.
Yeah, but Conan's good because it's got a donger slider, and that's really life.
Dude, I totally want to get some shirts made and printed, and maybe we'll put them up on the site that says something like "May your slider be forever to the right."
Yeah.
That would be absolutely amazing, and I can maybe have on it or something like that.
That's right. Copyright. That's copyright.
Yeah, nobody takes that. I've already started the paperwork for that slogan.
Sean owns it like he owns the entire rest of everything that goes on that website and on this chat.
Don't matter. I'm paid for it. It's mine. Yeah, that's all I've been playing. But I mean, I play Overwatch. I'm really bad, but yeah. I still I have to play it. And since all the the New Year stuff just wrapped up, I had to spend that last day just grinding away and not getting the one skin that I wanted. I got every other skin. That's the only thing that I wanted. And
you got every skin except for what?
Except for Roadhog. That was the only one I wanted. I'm not about 1,000 gold. Bump that.
It's so funny because every time that Sean and I play a lot of Overwatch together, and every time that's the only skin I did get. I didn't get a single other one. That's the only one I got. I had to buy the freaking Ana. I'm an Ana main, so like, of course, I had to buy that one, but it was only $750. See, yours would have been $3,000, which is obscene.
Yeah,
we could do 40 minutes on those stupid loot boxes that make me just want to hurt myself.
Maybe that'll be next time is our Overwatch rant.
Oh my god, I'm gonna. It makes me want to lay down in traffic.
Just like in the game, like
no, in real life. In the game too, but in real life more than anything. So yeah, and for anybody else who's out there that's playing Conan, we actually run our own Conan Exiles server. So we'll try to put like maybe in the description of this episode some information about our Conan server, or you can always find us on our website, nerdlifetx.com, and we can get you hooked up there if you want to play with us. It's only got 20 slots, but we're not that popular, so it's not like those are filling up quick. So if
we still got 18 of them open.
Yeah, we got a sweet 18 open. Sean and I have a castle on a mountain. Don't come near it because I will run naked at you with a large rock.
We got catapulting guard spiders.
Yeah, because that's what you do in that game. You walk into somebody's house and spawn one of the bosses, right, Sean? That's what you do in that game.
Dude, you try to smash me, so I made the god spider in our house and I couldn't get it out.
Yeah, we had to cheat in weapons and turn on god mode to kill the damn thing, and then it still broke down half of our house. So that's fun. That's so far been our experience in Conan.
Conan is build a house and then spawn elite enemy inside of it. Oh, God.
Yeah. So, Nick, what have you been playing?
Actually, I've been kind of messing around with a bunch of retro games. Picked up a Raspberry Pi 3 over the weekend, but a Retro Pi.
Yeah.
So that's been a lot of fun.
Man, I love those things.
Oh, I know. Yeah, cheap, nice and easy to put together, and you can get anything, really. They actually are able to emulate up to Dreamcast era.
Does it actually work on the 3 though? Because I had the 2, like the highest into the Plus or whatever, and it struggled with 60, like some of the later 64 games.
The 3 has no problems with any 64 games that I've run into. And I've seen a couple of videos of people playing Power Stone. I haven't got any of the actual ISOs myself yet, but looking forward to trying that here this week.
That's sweet, man.
I did get a fully loaded 16 gig ISO already packed with ROMs, and I'm going to be giving that a try here probably later on this evening.
That's cool. Yeah, Dreamcast had some solid games. It surprisingly, it gets pushed under the rug a lot because Sega. but
They're just garbage.
yeah, well, and we're gonna get to that when we talk a little bit later on about the Switch, about where I think Nintendo's headed too.
Yeah.
I think they're headed to the old Sega dumpster fire, but that's fine. I'll probably be wrong like everything else in my life, but
I'll say this about the Dream. Dude, Dreamcast was a solid platform, and they just got buried by Sony. That was it. It's just bad timing on about everything. But I mean, there's still people that are developing games for the Dreamcast. That is amazing to me.
It's a solid console, dude. And for a CD based console, my Dreamcast. I have the first, like I got the Dreamcast on 99.99. I still have that Dreamcast, and it still works. Like those things are tanks, man. I know a lot of people are like, nah, it's a good CD based consoles. It's so annoying. Mine is still going strong.
Dude, I have a box of them. I probably have 6 or 7 Dreamcasts, and they're all awesome.
Yeah.
Did you play all 6 of them at once?
I do. I've made a cluster, and the only problem is if I want to play, if I want to play some Resident Evil, I gotta get like 7 copies of Resident Evil.
Did you hook that modem up? You hooked that sweet modem up?
Dude, all 7 modems. I had to get a splitter.
I had to get a home phone line just to play my Dreamcast.
Man, I didn't know what I was missing out on.
They did actually make an Ethernet port for that.
Are you
That
serious?
is true. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, my friend Bill picked one up. He had Roadrunner at the time and was playing Phantasy Star online, which actually was a pretty amazing game for what it was.
Yeah.
He got hooked in that, and he ended up buying one of those. Yeah, I think he had to import it, if I'm not mistaken, because they just didn't have any in the stores around here. I think you get it off Play Asia, in fact.
Oh my god. Yeah, I've Play Asia. I vaguely remember Phantasy Star. Just I don't know. Like I remember seeing it. It kind of has like a weird feel to it. It's almost like a really cheap Monster Hunter. Like that's what it felt like. Like if you looked at it, it was like this clunky kind of slow thing with all these different enemies, but the map interfaces kind of worked like Monster Hunter. So you'd like go into an area, you'd have this big area, you go into the next area, and it looked like a lot different, but it was separated by like these weird loading sections.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it was really odd. I might have played it. I might not. I don't know if I played it or if I just watched somebody else play it, but I remember not being like super like, oh my god, this is the best. Like now I would love to go back and play it, but obviously that's probably not a thing you can do anymore. So I'm not gonna like,
Are there any private servers?
Actually, there are private servers.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah, you
that's
totally
what
could
we
do
need
that.
to do then.
Oh, that'd be
Play
awesome.
some Phantasy Star.
That would actually be pretty fun.
Everybody get your Dreamcast and your Ethernet adapters. Let's do this shit.
The only one I ever played was the one that was on GameCube.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really good one.
I think that wasn't that Phantasy Star 1 and 2, like as a bundle?
Yeah, it was a 2-pack.
Yeah. Yeah, the GameCube actually won out on a lot of Sega titles from the Dreamcast, like Skies of Arcadia, Grandia 2.
A lot of the solid titles came over.
Yeah,
and that was another good system, too. The GameCube was a great system. That was the last Nintendo system I had a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
I love the game. Even it holds up today. Like, you can go back and play some of the older systems, but, like, GameCube, you hook it up and you're like, man, it doesn't look bad at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Do everybody who hasn't done it, do yourself a favor and go get Eternal Darkness and just flip that on.
Yeah.
That game rules.
Yes.
I was hoping for a better air horn. You let me down.
That's right. So as far as I go, I've been playing Way of the Samurai 3 this week, and I just got 1.
Wait, is that with Tom Cruise?
It's with Tom Cruise co-starring Scientology.
Oh yeah.
Co-starring Xenu. You guys can Google that, or I'm going to have protesters outside of my house. I don't know which one it'll be, but, I just sacrificed myself for all your entertainment. I hope you're all happy. It's really cool. It's got you play a samurai and you come into like this village. There's like an altercation happening between 2 rival groups, and you can choose like what confrontations you want to get involved in, because it's kind of like free roaming. Like you just kind of wander around, and if you see something happening you want to get involved in, you just draw your sword. In 3, you can hit the select button on your controller, and you can either use the bladed side of your sword or the blunt side. So like even if you want to get involved and you don't want to kill the dude because you might need him later,
Why would you do that?
It's really weird because it also ranks you on samurai points, which is like how you unlock like new features for your character, like new skins and heads, because you get to customize your character.
Are you playing some hippie pacifist game?
Dude, it's weird. It's real weird. Do you remember?
Sounds like garbage.
No, dude. Do you remember Bushido Blade?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember Bushido Blade? How like you could wait while they were taunting and just run up and stab a dude, and then like the game would end quicker. But like if you didn't hit a guy in the back and you fought him face to face and you didn't kill him when they were crippled, you'd get to go longer in the game.
Yes.
It's kind of got like a system like that. Like you get different things if you're better to certain people, and you can be a bad guy but still not lose samurai point. It's really weird, but it's also roguelike. So I was just telling Nick that I had like some obscene, like 7 hours, some obscene amount of time into one character, and he got killed, and I had to start over, and I was like, fuck this noise. Like I love this game, but I got so mad. Like I was like, oh my God. Like I just put my head in my hands. I was like, I'm just going to bed. I don't want to be awake anymore. Like, I was so mad. I was so mad. But
yeah, that's the thing about roguelikes. They're like a double-edged sword, you know?
Yeah.
You get so much out of them when you do great, and then when you fail, you lose everything.
There's certain... Okay, so is it like real roguelike where it's like permadeath?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Once your character dies, so you can save. you can save like during the game. So like you can kind of cheat by like when your character dies, it'll say, "Hey, do you want to save?" And if you save after your character dies, it overwrites your old save. If you don't hit save, you can load back into the last point that you saved at,
before the last guy like smashes you in the face, like a second before,
because you don't know. So it's really kind of weird. Like you have an opportunity to not play it like a roguelike, but just based on how the saving works, I assume that that's kind of what they want you to do, because when you make your new character, if you had like a custom weapon you built, because you get to build your swords in 3, which is really cool. You like find the blade, find the hilt, find the handle, and you can put it all together and make like a custom weapon. And you tell what stance you want to use. Do you want to be low stance, high stance, one-handed, two-handed, whatever. So if you built a custom weapon, that's available to you and your new guy when you make him right away. So you just get that new sword day one. So like it's kind of neat. Like they let you carry over some of the stuff, but it's that character is dead and that progression is gone. So you have to start back over again. But then you can decide, hey, do I want to follow that same path that'll yield the same results, or do I want to change up how I did things a little bit? So it's kind of neat.
Oh, okay. It's kind of like how roguelike like character and it stayed within like your family line.
Oh yeah. Rogue Legacy. Yeah. That game was fun. That's another one. I got really pissed with it and I had to stop playing it.
I could never get past like the second boss, and I was just like,
I did get past the first boss. So you're twice as good as me. Yeah,
dude.
I'm the worst at video games. Why
do you even play games?
Yeah, why even play games? This podcast is over. Games are over.
Click.
Stop listening to this, nerds. Everything's over.
I quit.
So everyone, we just quit. You can pick up your second before.
Over. So, all right, cool. So, so I had some topics that I wanted to cover just in the interest of like keeping us on point, because we'll never get this done if we all just keep talking, because that's how we always function. Every person in this room right now, this chat room right now, we all have that problem. So we figured,
what are we going to talk about, Matt?
The Nintendo Switch is coming out. So we kind of talked about it, and Nick and I work together, and we've had several heated conversations about the Switch because I hate it and he pre-ordered one. so
let's see where he stands.
Yeah. So we can, I thought maybe we should like have a conversation about this because Sean, you're not even really a fan, but you haven't kept up on much of the news, right?
I have generally avoided the topic because how stupid I feel it is, just by the 4 seconds that I have been exposed to it. And it completely turned me off. So I was just like, I don't even want to know about it. That's essentially how I have treated the release of this console. But I feel like maybe I should become educated on it while still spewing alternative facts about the Switch that I think I know. So
he's going to kill me in Conway this.
No, whatever.
So.
We're going to do something. So we'll have this conversation. I'll become educated. Nick will become humbled, and Matt will lose some of his anger, hopefully, by the end of this.
No, Matt's just always going to be mad. Matt's embittered by all the things around him. What's this cup? Fuck this cup. This is near me, and he's just mad. That's just smash cup. So Nick, go ahead. It's all you. You started.
It's all me. All right. Well, put my money where my mouth is. I did buy or pre-order a Switch. I did also own a Wii U. So
I'm guilty of owning a Wii U.
Okay, fair enough.
I never even played the Wii U. After the Wii, I was like, you know what? No thanks.
You let me down, Wii.
So you and I are two of the 13 million people that actually bought a Wii U.
So that doesn't sound like a lot.
No, that's actually a very small number. That's the smallest number that Nintendo has ever sold of any console so far.
What about the Virtual Boy?
With exception of the Virtual Boy.
That I do have. I do have one of those. I think it still works. Yeah, dude. I bought it when it was new. Like, I saved up all my money. I was a little kid.
Man, your parents liked you.
No, dude, I did chores and shit. Like, it was, yeah.
I think I bought the Wii U so I could play Mario Kart. I think that was the only reason that I purchased that console.
I actually got it. I had a little bit of hope for it. So here's the thing. So you look at the Xbox One and you look at the PS4. What differentiates them from a PC?
They're crappy. Oh, wait, no. The PC is good. Consoles make me sad. Is that the answer? Is that the right answer?
Okay, so
is Bloodborne an appropriate answer?
they all run the same architecture now. This is pretty much the only other console that ran x86 architecture, which is like PC architecture. To my recollection, was actually the original Xbox. So there really haven't been any other ones that have been like that. But if you look at their specs, they basically were kind of about a middle high grade PC build around 2013 when they first came out. So for me, I already had a PC that was pretty much that. The only benefits I would see from getting a console, which I did eventually do, was the exclusives.
Yes.
That is it.
I have a thing. Okay. So for PC gaming, what ruins it for me a lot of times is people who exploit shit, or, that one dude who is he's got just a little bit like faster internet, and he's just got a little bit better PC.
Are you talking about me?
I'm talking about you. No, you have significantly better internet because you don't live, in
the butthole of America.
Yeah, the perpetual frozen tundras of Ohio. We only have, it's only either 100 degrees or frozen. That's all we get. We don't get anything in between. Yeah, that's all it is. And they're both just sadness. That's all it is. You either just got swamp ass or you're frozen, and you just have seasonal depression because you don't get to see sun for like 6 months out of the year because like we're living in Alaska or something. Anyway, so I really liked the idea when the first real gaming system I had a Nintendo when I was really little, and I really liked it. And then when I got a little bit older, my parents got rid of it because they were like, he's not playing it as much, whatever. The first console I bought for myself was the PlayStation. And all my friends were building these souped up PCs, but I liked my PlayStation. I liked knowing that like whatever game I put in that PlayStation, it was supposed to run on that PlayStation. And I could take it at my house. I could play that PlayStation. It was going to be the same if I popped that disc out and I went over to my friend's house and I popped that disc in, it's going to be the same game. Now on PCs anymore, that's not even the case. I mean, Sean can probably run everything on ultra settings while I'm running everything on regular. And Sean's internet is twice the speed of mine, and he plays half the price. Thanks, Time Warner.
No, it's not Time Warner anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Spectrum.
I'm sorry, Satan. So
say the devil.
Yeah, just Satan. But I feel like there's gonna be times, no matter. I know a lot of people are like, oh, there's like there's hit boxes and there's all this like there's latency and there's all this like these little things that make it so everybody's equal, right? But you can't sit there and tell me that with somebody having a souped up machine with way faster internet than me, they don't have seconds that they can make a jump decision, especially in a Twitch shooter, that I don't have, right?
They might have milliseconds, but to put it in perspective, so like I said, I'm an old gamer. Back in the day, I remember setting up a LAN party. We had a 10 megabit hub, not a switch, that we all connected to using BNC coax cable.
Dude, you are so old.
I told you. And at the time, I actually had I think it was a Celeron, the Mendocino core, like a 366 megahertz, 64 meg of RAM, and like a 16 gigabyte TNT, the original NVIDIA Riva TNT. So I'm running it.
Was your life just, were you Angelina Jolie in the movie Hack?
Yes.
Did you stand on a giant platform when you were like using it?
I was
like, is this?
So now I had this machine. It was actually pretty baller for the time. Like I, had a $300 16 megabyte video card. But I actually had a friend who showed up with this piece of crap Cyrix. I think it was like 233 megahertz. He was running Quake 2 in software at 320 by 240 resolution, and he was owning us left and right.
So this man's postage stamp size.
Yeah, exactly.
He was playing it on a flip phone.
He was playing.
Guys, how to plug this into the internet?
He's playing it on like I think it was like a 14-inch CRT. So, oh yeah, and he was owning us left and right, and like literally all my friends had some sort of 3D accelerator and a decent rig. But really, it just came down to he was a better player than us.
So what Nick is saying is I'm just bad. I need to get good.
you need to overcompensate by getting good, and you can climb over that hurdle of your internet is really slow and you have insane lag spikes
by just getting big, son.
Just getting big, son.
So what I'm basically saying is, Matt, quit being a scrub lord.
Yeah, I know. By the way, out of the three of us, Nick is also the only one that has ever completed or played for any extended period of time any of the From Software games. So he literally comes from a community that they're just like, get good. I don't know why you can't beat this game that's meant to make you suicidal. I don't understand. So I don't know that you should be our reigning expert on me just getting good. Your unreasonable expectations for video games. But I mean, like, so, okay. But that brings us back to like the Switch, right? So we're having the conversation about, what basically makes, what's the difference between a console and a PC now, right?
Right.
Cool.
So
that's all fine and dandy. But the Switch, so I found a quote, and I'm going to murder this name, but it's Gunpei Yokoi, or Yoki, or Yokoi.
Gunpei Yokoi.
Yeah, Nintendo designer. He said, he had this concept that using lateral thinking with seasoned technology. So he didn't tout like moving forward with technology, and that's fine. That's Nintendo's stance is we beat with hardware. Right? Yeah, they don't. But at a certain point, isn't that gonna affect your bottom line? Like you can't, like none of us are running out to buy a Motorola, right? I mean, like none of us want to take that step back because we're like, I can get a goddamn iPhone for $300. I can get one free. Like you can get an iPhone with no plan, and that thing, like that's amazing. It sends beams to space, and I can check out creepy on Facebook all day. Like it, it doesn't matter. Like I can read InfoWars on my cell phone. Look at me, like I don't understand the concept of taking pre-existing technologies and then going, yeah, like we know there's new stuff that's better and it works better and it's proven and it's whatever, because this isn't even like, they're not even looking at this and going, okay, like the standard right now is what we're going with. Like I understand, like, you know, you've got the PS4 Pro and the Scorpio, you know, dropping, and those have, you know, 4K. We've buffed a lot of the, you know, the hardware in it, whatever. I can understand Nintendo not wanting to get into that, because essentially you're saying, hey, you're gonna have to buy an upgraded console every year at some point, just like a PC,
or at least modules.
Exactly. Yeah. And nobody, I just don't see that being a good, like, sustainable system of doing that without just folding it into your PC. But Nintendo's taking stuff that's older than that, like not even the tried and tested stuff. They're still one step behind that, because their output on this thing is not comparable to anything that's out right now.
It's like 900p, right? Isn't that what the resolution is?
The Switch's resolution on the actual, like, screen on the tablet itself is 720p. So it's actually just standard HD resolution, not full HD, 1080p. But then when you connect it into the dock, some games will be 1080p, some games will be like 900p, kind of like essentially like the original Xbox One and PS4 for the Pro and Scorpio. So that's what we're looking at for output. But going to Matt's point, yeah, I see where you're coming from. So the PC and the Xbox and the PS4 are all basically PCs, right? Mm. And if you're going to a console because you do want that 4K or you do want that 1080p, why not just go with a PC?
I would say price point.
Equalized hardware for me. For me, it's the equalized hardware. It's still that. And I know that people are going to call me dumb for it, but I like the equalized hardware. I also like not having to look at specs for my rig. I like being able, like, For Honor, great example. So during the For Honor beta, one of the guys that games with us, he was saying, like, if you drop below 30 FPS, they drop you from the game. Well, like, I'm not going to run that risk. Like, let's just say that's the way of the future. I don't know if it's still like that. I haven't played the For Honor now that it's out of beta. But let's just say that, like, you have really strict specs that you need to fulfill. I would rather know that I can go to the store, I can pick any PS4 game off the shelf and come home and stick it in my PS4. It's going to work.
So it's just lazy dependability is what you want.
Yeah, dude. Well, and so you combine that with the price point, and why not? Right. So I'm going to pay $400 right now and get 7 years of life out of a console, maybe more, depending on how well it does, because they might still continue to produce for it. And look at that over time. How much money did I really spend compared to, I mean, how many times do you have to upgrade your PC? You know, like,
I upgraded my PC?
Well, no. I mean, yeah, but you built a super rig right out of the gate. Like, I just dropped money on a new video card and expanded memory for my PC, and it wasn't super cheap. It wasn't super expensive. I got, like, a good deal because I waited for sales, but still, like, with the only upgrade that I've done to my PlayStation, the only expansion I bought, I spent $29 to buy that Nyko expansion bay to put a full-size drive in it, which is awesome because now I never run out of space. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. You know, so right there, like, that alone is going to get me a lot of extra time out of this machine because I don't have to sit there and delete games anymore. I can install myself into Oblivion if I want to. Which, by the way, is hell on the Xbox. But go ahead. Yeah, well, that's why it's a trash machine. Anyway, but I just, like, you know, and that's cool. Like, that's fine. But when it comes back down to it, again, my home console is my home console. Now, I do have a 3DS, right? Mm-hmm. So the only interest that I would have in the Switch is saying, okay, hey, like, I can take this outside of my house, right? Like, I can take this with me. But Nintendo keeps flip-flopping. First, you know, hey, well, what happens when you take it out of your house? How much time do you get? Oh, yeah, you get 2 to 6 hours of gameplay depending on the game. That's a big difference. That's not even going to last you like a plane trip. It's like depending on where you're going.
Yeah, it's like a plane trip or all day.
Like, but like, I'm guessing that when they're talking 6 hours, they're not talking about Breath of the Wild for 6 hours, dude. No, they've actually said Breath of the Wild. That's 3 hours. You get 3 hours of battery life when you're playing Breath of the Wild. 3 hours is insane, dude. And again, this goes back to, like, parents buying this thing for their kid. You buy this stuff so your kid shuts up. Like,
no, that's why you also invest in a car charger.
Well, and right there, now we're talking extra peripherals. And have you seen the price point on the controllers alone, dude?
Yes, I'm looking at them right now. It's for the Switch Pro controller, $69.99.
Yeah, but if you wanted a set of the stupid ass little fake nunchuck thing,
the Joy-Con controllers, $80.
That's obscene. Yeah. That's robbery. You are robbing me. You are appling me.
Dude, and if you want another dock for another,
how much is it you cut out? What was that?
$90 if you want another dock.
Yeah.
Like, so if you have two TVs, that's nickel and diming you to death.
Well, not only that,
I agree.
Not only that, but now think about that, dude. It's $90 for the dock. So really think about that now. So what's their whole thing? You can take this home and plug it into your dock, and then you get better everything out of it, right? So essentially, it's a $90 accelerator. There's nothing in that dock to do anything for you. So the machine has the ability to go to those specs when it's off that dock. But because they wanted it to be portable, they had to sacrifice some of that. Well, then you go to, okay, well, I have my 3DS now. So is my 3DS my primary portable, or is this my primary portable? Nintendo goes, no, it's your home console. Okay, so you guys are going to keep making 3DS games or what? And they went, and he went, what happened to your mobile division? And I'm hearing all these things about they folded the two divisions together. So like, are you going to keep making the 3DS? Because if you're going to keep making the 3DS, you just screwed me by making me pay $200 or $300 for something that you told me was portable and then took it back. And if you do keep making the 3DS, why would I buy that if you told me this other thing was portable already?
So do you want the official answer, or do you want like what I'm kind of seeing?
Convince me that Nintendo isn't the worst country or the worst company on the planet. Convince me
it's not EA.
Yeah, convince me they're not trying to Ubisoft me, right?
Okay. So, first of all, let's go to battery life. Let's go right back to battery life real quick, and we'll work our way kind of through this because you kind of jumped through a couple of quick topics there. Battery life, 3 to 6 hours, right? Do you know what the original 3DS is?
Couldn't tell you. Okay.
So the 2DS, just the regular 2DS, is like 5 to 9 hours. The 3DS XL, the larger unit with the larger battery, is like 6 to 10 hours. And I think the original 3DS, if I remember right, was somewhere between 4 to 7 hours or something like that. So
4 hours for a portable console, though, that's appropriate, don't you think?
Okay, but look at how little it's doing compared to what the Switch provides. It's a huge step backwards when it comes to graphical horsepower, even the resolution that it's actually outputting at. It's like half the resolution of the 720p that the Switch is outputting.
That's true, but that's only okay. Like, I'm not. All right. So I am not one of those people that's like, oh my God, I need a 4K TV. I just don't care. I don't care because I care more about like, what is the benefit going to be for me? So like, there's been this huge resurgence lately, right, in 2D platforming games. What the hell is a 720p screen going to help me out if I'm playing, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm playing something that's supposed to look like it's 16 bits with a little bit more glitz to it. Like it's, you know, a lot of the Binding of Isaac is a great example. Am I going to get a lot of feedback from Binding of Isaac playing it in 720p?
Maybe not Binding of Isaac, but look at Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight was a last gen game though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't developed to be. I mean, it was developed. You can take it mobily, but if you look at, I don't know, some of the games that were native to the 3DS. They played really, really, really well, and they were good, solid games. And I would take those over a game that gets half powered when I unplug it from a fancy machine on my TV. Like, I will take a game that's supposed to natively run on that hardware rather than something that's either going to clip my wings when I'm mobile or clip my wings when I have it docked. Because you're essentially you're playing two different versions of the game, a slightly crappier quality one and then a good quality one, right?
So it's like going from playing a game on your Xbox 360 to playing it on your cell phone.
Right. And so why would you want that? Right? Because you're not going to have an enjoyable experience one way or the other. You pick, because you don't get everything.
It's actually a little bit closer to playing a game on Xbox One versus PS4. Because if you look at a lot of the Xbox One games, the native rendering resolution is like closer to 720p more times than not.
I thought it was 900.
Well, the PS4 is usually closer to 900.
See, I always thought that more along the lines of 1080p, whereas the Xbox One was around 900.
Some of them are. It really just depends on the game. But if you look at games such as like, I believe it was like the last Call of Duty, Digital Foundry found that the Xbox One was actually rendering at like 720, where the PS4 was hitting about 900p. Games where you want more frame rate out of it, you're going to have to sacrifice that. You're going to have to push less pixels to the screen and let it spend less time per frame rendering out that frame. So the more time it spends per frame, obviously, the lower frame rate that you're going to get, right? So the trick behind that is one easy fix, lower the resolution. And that's kind of what sounds like they're doing with the Switch. I mean, its native resolution on that display is 720p. And then when you plug it into the dock, the one thing that the dock does to provide you that extra power is add active cooling. So it forces air through the unit to keep it cooler, and that gives them a little bit of thermal room to up the clock. So that gives you that extra push to the display and gives you the 900p or 1080p depending on what type of game you're playing. Again, if you're playing Shovel Knight, I'm sure they can render that in 1080p without a problem. But if you're doing something closer to Breath of the Wild, you're probably going to be at 900p once you're on an actual HD TV. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry if that was too much.
No, it's a fact that I don't.
Well, like
I'm skeptical.
Exactly, and that's where I'm at too. But so the other problem that I have beyond just the hardware, dude, kill motion controls, for the love of Christ. Kill motion controls. I hate motion controls more than anything. And if I have to see one more goddamn commercial of them milking a fake cow in the most awkward way possible, I swear to God, I'm going to punch a hole in my television.
Okay, so here's my only defense for motion controls. I'm glad they tried something different initially with the Wii. But yeah,
That's the Wii. That's like 2 generations ago.
Yeah, I'm done with motion controls personally. In fact, I have a PS Vita, and the fact that it had that back touchscreen and that some games kind of forced you to use the back touchscreen or the front touchscreen, that annoyed me. I don't know if I'm just getting old, but I really just prefer traditional controls. They're more accurate. They're more responsive. I don't even really like playing action games on my tablet because I just don't feel like there's enough feedback and it's not just precision. So if Nintendo could have dropped the price of the overall unit or the Joy-Con controllers, which are sold separately, or the Pro controller, which is sold separately, if they could just drop that price by dropping that crap, which I'm sure they could have, I would have definitely taken that option.
Right.
Yeah,
and I think that I think that whole like distaste for the motion controls, I wouldn't say it's because you're older. I think it's also it's a generation thing, and not even that. Oh, that's what we grew up with. It's just what you were like gravitated towards. Because I know a lot of younger guys that they play Super Nintendo games. They're hardcore like retro guys, but because of that is what your affinity is towards. Motion controls, they don't line up with that. They're not as accurate. It's a niche thing in general, and I just think that there people like us, okay, are going to gravitate away from that. Like even me on my PS4, there's a little touchscreen there. You know how many times I've been playing Star Wars Battlefront, and I've accidentally thrown a grenade. Because I hit that damn. You just touch it. You don't have to do anything. You just barely graze it, and you're throwing grenades. I hate that, and you can't turn it off.
It really is the worst. And PlayStation is not. They're not without sin either, because they resurrected those Move controllers for the PSVR.
Yep,
which blows my mind.
Okay, there is a place for motion controls, and that is in VR, because you have to have some way to pick up that motion. So it makes sense. I think it's stupid that there should be some other way to do it, but I get why the PSVR does it, because it's an easy, and to me it's a kind of get that to work so they don't have to develop some other technology to recognize your hand movements.
Right. If you look at the Vive, those motion controllers are 1-to-1. They're actually a little bit better technology than the Move controller. Obviously, a more expensive technology, but they are a better technology. And I do think that, in my opinion, that kind of puts it a step ahead of where like Oculus is. But that would be about the only place. I agree that VR is kind of where that technology belongs. I'm done waggling in front of my screen. You know,
yeah, well, it's really weird, and it was cute on the Wii when you wanted to bowl with grandma, but like if you're gonna push towards like even look at their promo video when they're pushing like, oh my god, like this is gonna be a big esport for I just don't see like real gamers. I don't want to say real gamers because if you play a game, as far as I'm concerned, you're a real gamer. I don't care what game it is. Even if you play Candy Crush, you're a real gamer. I think that percentage wise, there are equal amounts of gamers that are women and men, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't think that anybody is clamoring to get a motion control. And as far as like VR compared to how I feel about the Switch, I think they're going to go the same way. I think it's going to be really hot for like a minute, but then everybody's going to be looking at this like a year down the road and going, "Oh my God, we bought this $300 thing and now it sits." Or, oh my God, like it's a failure. Like I don't know.
Nintendo will never admit to a failure.
No, well, that's because they don't have to. They have enough money. They can sail on Mario. They can coast on Zelda. But I just want to know how long it's going to be.
3DS.
Right. I love my 3DS, dude. I bought Sean's 3DS off him. I have 2 of them.
Mm-hmm. Like I have nothing against the 3DS. I'm just saying it's sold so well.
Right.
It right now is what the Wii was to them during that period of time. You know what I mean? Like it gets them by.
Nintendo has enough money. I was reading an article, and Nintendo has enough money that they can stop producing everything and sustain for 40 years on the money they have. Like they do not have to make another dollar. And that's the point in which they would have to file for bankruptcy is 40 years. So they're allowed to. They feel like they're allowed to make these decisions. They're allowed to not innovate. They're allowed to not progress with everyone else, and they can do whatever they feel like that they can do, and there's no repercussions for them because they're gonna sell because it's Nintendo. It's gonna sell because it's Mario and Legend of Zelda, and they could literally just like serve up like just a steaming plate of garbage, and
Mario
will buy it. And then
Mario Run, dude.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Mario nonsense. So
yeah, it's $10 garbage, and people bought it. It still did compared to other mobile games. It did okay, but I'm concerned. Like, so Nintendo, just turn into Sega already. Like, just stop making your own consoles. Start playing the game and developing for other things. Because I'm telling you right now, people aren't going out and buying the Switch because they want the Switch. Nick, you're not included, but. For most people are not running out and buying the Switch because they want the Switch. They're going out and buying the Switch because they want Mario, right? Or they want Zelda.
It's available on.
Right. So if they would just expand out, don't you think they could make that money back twice over and expand their market? Because if you've got a guy who's always played Microsoft, always played Xbox since the first Xbox, they had an Xbox, they had a 360, they have a One, and all of a sudden you get Breath of the Wilds on there, like you'd be opening yourself up to like a whole new world of people. But
why would Nintendo do that when they have their market cornered? Why would they produce it? They're not going to sell more games just because it's on a PS4. They're going to sell hardware and then they're going to sell the software. Nintendo understands that, I think, really well, and that's why they will not do that until they absolutely have to do that, like Sega did.
Well, and that's why, like, I was telling Nick before we started, like, that's why, like, I get frustrated with Shigeru Miyamoto. Like he's like this guy. He's super nice. Like I'm like, dude, I want this guy to be my grandpa. Like he's so awesome. But some of the things, like when they're just like, they're like attitude towards like, well, we're Nintendo. We just do it this way, or like check out these sweet controllers. And they're like, they do these little promos where they're dropping the controllers out of their hands. That it's super majestical. And it's like, ooh, oh my God. But really it's this like super old technology in a motion control device nobody wants, It's, nobody knows how they're going to handle their online access. So like that's going to be a mess guaranteed when that starts. They're still talking about using things like your cell phone for your chat communication, because Nintendo they've always been too afraid to include a chat client. And I think, and I'm not 100% sure about
for kids.
This, yes, it's because when there used to be a feature on the 3DS where you could I think it was called leave note or something like that.
Yeah.
You could leave a note to somebody else and you could use your camera to take pictures. Well, what do you think happened immediately? Yeah. So Nintendo cut that all off. Well, they've never revisited it, really. Yeah. I mean, they even in that weird social, what was that Mitomo, right? That weird that weird social thing that they made. Yeah. Even in that, you could not directly talk to another person. I was friends with people on mine that, I knew from Instagram or whatever, you friended them. If you were friends with somebody on there, you couldn't go to them and be like, hey, how are you? Your guy would just go, hey, how are you? And then they'd go, what is your favorite color? And you'd say blue. And they go, mine is blue too. And then they go, yay. But you didn't do anything but say blue. You didn't get to pick anything that you were saying to them. And yeah, you could still make that work and it could still be hilarious if you started throwing curse words in there. But they're so afraid. It's almost not, I don't want to say they're afraid, but it's almost like they're like, yeah, we don't want to deal with that. We don't want to deal with that. We don't want to deal with that. Right. So they just don't. So how am I supposed to expect that you're going to all of a sudden come out when there's already two big boys that have been competing for a long time? I mean, PlayStation just had to up their game. They didn't have a service they charged you for right before. Now they're charging you. You're getting free games monthly. You're getting, all the stuff that goes along with it. And Nintendo's like, well, you can borrow 2 NES games and there's no chat. So enjoy Splatoon, guys. Deuces. Shut up. Shut up. Nobody wants to hear that from you. I don't understand.
There is going to be chat. They've come out and said that there is definitely going to be chat.
But only in emojis, no words.
No, you'll be able to
talk through Mario's face, and he's gonna bleep out anything that sounds like a curse word, and you have to pay them $1 for every message.
For every word.
Yeah.
It costs too much for that technology.
No, they're not Ubisoft. There's not going to be microtransactions for swear words or something.
Dude, I did say that they're going to be.
You broke out. What'd you say one more time?
I said that they did say that there's going to be DLC for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Did you see what comes along with that?
No, I didn't look at it because I didn't care about it.
Season pass.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nonsense. They're at least they're adapting in one sense.
Well,
they're following the trend
in the worst way possible.
That's not the first time they've done that, though.
What else?
Mario Kart Wii U.
Oh yeah, because they had all the extra stuff. Okay.
Yep. I
Did
bought.
Either one of you guys have it?
Yeah.
I have Mario Kart. I'm not gonna buy the DLC. Oh, I guess they did it with Smash Brothers too.
They did it with Smash Brothers also. Yeah.
Smash
and Xenoblade Chronicles had DLC. I have that game. I didn't buy the season pass. I usually don't buy DLC, but I did for Mario Kart, and essentially it was because each pack that they gave you, there were 3 packs. I think it was $20 or something, but you got different racers with each pack. I think they added a different rank, a higher speed rank. And each pack that came out actually came with different tracks. So, and they were all sort of each themed. There was a Zelda pack, Animal Crossing pack, and I can't remember what the other one was offhand.
I guess if you were a Super Nintendo, I don't care. I don't care about themed levels. I'm not oh my God, I need this themed level. I can't think of anything that I like that if they were we're gonna make a themed level. I guess the closest thing I liked is when Overwatch did their Halloween event and they changed the theater into a horror theme. That was cool, but it was just an existing level. They threw some pumpkins in.
But you'd have paid for that. I know you would have. If they would have let you buy it so you could replay it, you would buy it.
Yeah, if I saw that when nobody else did, I sure as shit would have paid them for it. But that's because I'm a Halloween junkie.
Blizzard. No, it's because it's Blizzard. You know
I
it.
I don't give Blizzard my money.
You give Blizzard your money all the time.
I know I do, and I hate it every single time.
And we recently had a discussion about that. What kind
Blizzard?
of yeah, about Blizzard and like what kind of Blizzard fans we are.
Yeah, like the most hateful kind. Like, I'm so mad about giving them my money, but I'm still going to do it.
So you don't include me in that because I'm more the apologist than I am the hater.
Yeah, but you love, like, see, both of you guys were avid WoW players too, and I was never a WoW guy. And I mean, my first Blizzard stuff was, you're talking about Warcraft, StarCraft, and I love those games, but I never really cared about WoW. So I had this big gap between basically like Warcraft or between StarCraft and now. Essentially, Heroes of the Storm was essentially the next time I actually played a Blizzard game.
You never played like Warcraft 3?
No.
Dude, Warcraft 3 is like phenomenal game.
It was really good.
I think I tried it one time because I know that was the engine that led to Dota, which led to League of Legends, which was a game I was obsessed with. Mm-hmm. So I'm aware of it. I'm aware. It's like one of those things. Like, I hate the Beatles, but I can say, I understand how the Beatles affected everything else. Yeah. I don't really care for it. But
you can respect it?
I can respect the importance of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But, I don't know how we got track into that. But the one last thing I want to go with, because I think we're getting close to time. The one thing, other thing I wanted to talk to you about, Nick, was how do we know they're not going to NES Classic? Like the NES Classic was the last release for Nintendo that everybody was like, holy crap, I need that. And that was not that long ago. Mm-hmm. They sent like 4 to Target, and I know you pre-ordered yours, and I know you're swearing to me up and down they're going to be there, but how do you know?
Here's the deal. So with the NES Classic pre-sale, that whole thing, Nintendo, and they're still doing, I'm 90% sure that they're still using the same marketing tactic. Have you ever heard of the FOMO tactic?
I don't know what that is. It's
a marketing term. It stands for fear of missing out.
So it's like simulated demand.
Artificial demand, correct. They definitely did that for the NES Classic. There's no way in hell that they couldn't have seen that and said, oh, this isn't going to sell like hotcakes. And there's no way that they could have not just ordered, full production of them and start blowing them out the door, right?
They did the same thing with the Wii.
They did. They did the same exact thing when the Wii released. They knew it was going to sell well, and they did that. This time around, I know that they're still doing that, but I do also know that there are the original base stock for the worldwide opening is 2 million, and they have completely sold out of pre-orders worldwide. So 2 million are already spoken for. I think April is the first reload. So March 3rd it releases. April something will be the first reload, according to what I've heard. I talked to a guy at GameStop, and I know that that's theirs.
Oh my God, it's mind blowing to me. So okay, just as a side note, how much did you pay for your Raspberry Pi 3?
$35.
Actually, I bought it in a kit. It came with a case, HDMI cable, came with a SD card, and the Pi itself, and a power supply. So I paid, I think, $65.
Okay, how much is the NES Mini Classic, whatever the hell it is?
I think it's $60.
Yeah. So kids, just remember, you can build something way better and not give those money hungry a-holes.
And learn something while doing so, and
learn a little bit
with other projects. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we should just do a nice little article or a video on how to build a RetroPie.
Not a bad idea.
And also, if Nintendo wants to give us free games, then everything I said was joking. Everything I said. So if you want to give us money or T-shirts or games or like a free Switch,
it was all funsies.
Yeah, it was all point counterpoint, right? It was
prove us wrong.
Just jokes. Yeah, prove us wrong. There you go. Yeah, prove us wrong.
Come on, Nintendo.
Bet you won't. Bet you won't.
And
all right. So I had one more topic over the Greenlight stuff. Does anybody care, or do you just want to wrap it up?
Steam's killing Greenlight, and they're doing direct to people's.
Yeah, Greenlight was a horrible waste of time. Basically, for $100, you can put whatever you want.
Some good games came out of Greenlight, though. You cannot.
Some good games came out of it. I think it was a good project, but unfortunately, it ended up with it became a dumpster fire.
Garbage games.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting about that? I read their guidelines before we started the podcast just to see what, So for a one-time $100 fee per Steam account, you could submit as many games as you wanted over the course of however long, and they never took them down. They just stayed active until you took them down on Greenlight. And then check this out. This is their statistics. You guys heard that stat that like, what was it? 40% of Steam's library was released in 2016, right?
Yeah, 2/5.
So Steam Spy did this chart. They said that 40% of Steam's library was released in 2016. On the Steam Direct announcement, they said 100 Greenlight titles have made at least $1 million each. So that's 100 titles made $1 million out of 4,027 games. That's like 2.5%.
Well, dude, like the requirements were like, hey, does your game start? Good, you can sell it.
Yeah, does your game start? Oh, absolutely. That's all we require. You got one video and 4 screenshots, you got your website, and we'll never take it down.
Yeah, your game doesn't even need to really be your game.
No. Yeah.
Well, reskin someone else's game.
Yeah. So they didn't even reskin it. A lot of times it was just here's someone else's game. Yep. The one good thing I did find out though that I didn't know about was that $100 fee that they take from you. All proceeds from that go to Child's Play charity.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so that's pretty neat. But with the new way that they're planning on doing this, it's going to be a refundable fee. Mm-hmm.
So if your game tanks, you can get your money back.
Well, I think it's like a one-time like fee that they like charge you, and then you can get it back, but they don't know what the amount is going to be. They're in talks from $100 to $5,000 per game to submit it to Greenlight.
Or the direct to.
Well, yeah, for the
distribution.
But yeah, so
you know what? I would
$100 per account. It's going to be $100 to $5,000 per game.
You know, I'm not opposed to that because that is a way that they can weed out just the garbage games that people like to upload on there, the infinite runners and the click and drag bonanzas. So at least it'll get that. Well, yeah, I'm not opposed to Unity games.
No, I'm saying the Unity engine asset, like the asset flip games.
Oh yeah, where they just bought a bunch of assets and then they.
Yeah, they dumped them in there, and they don't even really do anything. There's no collision detection. You're just
kind of walk around in this square.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll get that out of there. It will hopefully be some kind of like a quality control measure that if you're not serious enough about your game to be able to come up with $5,000, then you're not serious enough to distribute your game to the masses. I'm okay with that. And that's why you have things like Patreon. That's why you have things like, Indiegogo, Kickstarter. All of us, as far as I know, we've supported a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm all for giving people money that are going to put out what looks to be a really good game. And I'm not butthurt if the game sucks because I put my faith in you and you screwed me over. But that's okay because there's going to be another game I'm going to throw $20 or $50 or $150, however much at, because I have faith in you and I want to help support the indie community because that's a big part of what I'm about. And I know that Matt is as well.
Yeah, I want to get away from triple. I'm tired of rewarding people behavior, and I feel like that's what a lot of times happens with the AAA stuff. But I mean, I agree with you. I would even be happy if they did some kind of a sliding scale where, like, okay, if your company is submitting your third game for Steam Direct, the first 2 made it, they're full-fledged games, they're doing okay. All right, so we drop you down from, let's not even say 5,000 because that's kind of a lot. Let's say it's $2,500. So by the time you get to your third title, if your first 2 made it on, all right, we drop that down to $100, refundable. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a sliding scale. Like if you've done good before, like we'd slide it. I would even be okay with that. But like, it's such a cesspool, and even like the stuff that they tried to like get to fix it, like the curators, the discovery update, and all that stuff, where it's like you should play this because you played that. And that stuff, it's just noise. It's noise. It doesn't help. I know that they're seeing gameplay time go up. That's what they were saying in their direct announcement. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's just noise. I never look at those. I never look at, I don't know my queue. I never look at like, hey, these are recommended for you. When I go on Steam, I'm looking for a specific game. If I'm not, I'm going to go to the new releases window, and that's now full of garbage. So now I'm not even going to look there. Mainly, I'm going to go on to Reddit. I'm going to join the Indie Games forum. And when some developer puts his game out and he's proud of it, and he posts it on Reddit and goes, hey man, this is my game, and I can talk to that dude directly on Reddit, 1-to-1, that's the guy's game who I'm going to go get.
Yeah.
Let's focus more on the games themselves and get away from like, anybody can produce a game. Holy crap. Like, stop that. I don't want everybody to produce a game. Not everybody deserves to produce a game. Just having the equipment doesn't mean you should. I have the equipment to produce a game if I wanted to. I got no business producing a game.
Right.
I can't play Dark Souls. That's going to be the requirement.
A new revelation?
That's the new requirement. If you can beat Demon's Soul, you get to put a game out.
No. Well, then we would never have any games.
Nick would have made 12 games.
We would just be.
It would just be Nick and my brother making games. That would be it.
It's just like sequels to Bloodborne.
That's right. Yeah. But it would be just Nick, my brother, Hideo Kojima, and nobody
else. Well, and you talk about the curation stuff. I know it does work to some level, because like there's games like there's a game that came out called Slain, which it reminded me of like a Castlevania style game, and it looked amazing. I was like, yes, I'm all over this game. As soon as that game came out, checked it out, it was so busted that like hit detection was all completely off. You couldn't like jump on anything to save your life, and everybody just ripped this game a new one. And you know what that developer did? They took all of that feedback that they got, they went in, and then they re-released the game as Slain Back from Hell, which is appropriately titled. All right. And the game is really good now. It is a solid game, because they went in and they fixed all the broken ass stuff that they didn't do in the first place, because the community fried them for it. And it was through the curation, and it was the Steam reviews. So it does work on some level, but only on the level of, hey, did you actually give a shit about the game in the first place?
But for every one of those, there's a No Man's Sky and a Fez. Right?
Fez wasn't a broken game. It was just
Fez was a great game, but the dude who made it was broke as fuck. That's why we can't. That's why he'll never make another game. Because that dude,
he was working on another game, and then like he fell off a cliff or something, right? On a moped or
no, that's the guy that made the Segway. Did you just compare Phil Fish to the guy that made the Segway?
Man, I thought they were the same person. No,
the guy that made the Segway made Fez.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Somebody update the Wikipedia page.
I'll do that right now.
But no, like I just or let's go with Colonial Marines then, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be some Randy Pitchford. There's going to be Phil Fishes. There's going to be somebody who's going to lie to you. I can't remember the guy that did No Man's Sky, but he straight up lied too. Maybe didn't lie, but stretched the truth. Let's not get sued. So I mean, remember, Sean owns everything.
I don't. Half of it.
He takes full ownership of everything I say. It's all reflective of all his beliefs. So that was a real time groan of frustration.
I believe this is the podcast that never got released.
Right.
Bomb.
But you know what I mean though? Like it's you almost you almost have to police the human being, not the game.
Okay.
Like that's the weird thing. And I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know if it's even possible. So,
in no other aspect of life does that really seem to be possible. So I doubt video games will be much different than, politics or anything else, to be honest.
Hashtag no politics.
No politics. I feel like it'll be an interesting social experiment part 2.
Yeah, I mean they need to take some responsibility for the shit that goes up there, which they don't.
There needs to be some quality control. I agree. I feel like there should be a process like Microsoft does.
Well, and I feel like, okay, so like League of Legends, I don't know if they're still doing it, but like back in the day, and I loved this system. They did a system where like you could go in and read the reports for players who got reported, and you would pass judgment on them. And it would go to like 5 people or whatever. And that panel of 5 people would say, one guy said, yeah, kick him. One guy said no. One guy said no. One guy said no. One guy said yeah. And they would average those, and that's what the decision would be. And for every group, like, every 10 guys you rated, you got some in-game currency. Like, cool. If you want me to police it, incentivize it and give me a reason to do it. And I would gladly sit there and go through these games and go, nope, 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 yep, nope, yep, nope. Because that would keep those developers from being absolutely rude to the people who are coming onto their page.
Yeah. Right. In exchange for maybe like a free key, you get to pick from like 3 games, or you get some credits or something.
Yeah, so you Steam Wallet credits, or you get an exclusive. The next AAA game that comes out will get you an exclusive closed beta, or it doesn't even have to. You don't have to give me something. It should just incentivize me somehow.
Just to give you a badge or something, some gamification.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, kind of stepping away from that in another direction. The community, yeah, that would be really great, but talking about taking ownership, Steam and Valve need to look at this and say, okay, we need to do something. We need to have a more strenuous approval process, like for Dota 2. So the community can create in-game items like skins, like different like weapon skins and stuff like that. Have you ever looked at that at the workshop?
No, I haven't.
Okay, yeah. So you can do that, and then Valve actually goes through and they will approve the items that go up into the store. Why aren't they doing that with games? Obviously there's cost involved in it because you have to hire quality control people, but I'm sure, how many games has Valve come out with in the past,
Well, they're just cruising on there. Yeah, because here's another
on their Left 4 Dead 2 money.
Well, here's another thing. So I found another interesting quote on here. How much money, how does the revenue split work once my game gets onto Greenlight? Steam does not discuss revenue split publicly. Like, are you jacking me for 60% when my game gets on there? Is that
right?
Well, Gabe Newell's his net worth is $4.1 billion. As of
at least
crazy.
2 Gabes. But yeah, so I mean, you're right. And how many of us, if when I was 16, if you just said, hey, if you try some of these games, we'll pay you. Like a headhunter thing, we'll pay you $5 an hour to test these games. I'd have taken that shit in a heart. I would have stayed up all night doing my job.
Mm-hmm. Right?
So I mean, it's not like there's a lack of people who would be willing to jump to do. They could probably find people that would do it for free.
Honestly. Yeah, totally.
Because it's Steam, or because it's Valve. But Anyway, so we're way close to being an hour. So I'm gonna wrap this up. So anybody who's hung around this long, we appreciate it. Hopefully you're going to find this on one of the major search engines. We're going to try to get it up on iTunes and Stitcher and all that fun stuff. And once we officially do, we'll let you know. If you're curious about the site at all, or curious about us at all, nerdlifetx.com is the site. We had some recent articles go up. I think actually each person that's on the show today has had an article go up in the last week. We had the release for Ghost in the Shell trailer 2. We had an article on that. We had an article about the Alien Covenant release date and the trailer. We had a cover of a trailer for a game called Mother Gunship. And we had a discussion about the Dawn of War 3 Prophecy of War trailer.
I just posted the trailer. I didn't actually say anything.
Okay. So there you go. So that's what you can expect. So that was just in the last week. We're trying to get more regular with our content, so we're hoping that'll be up. Yeah, thanks for listening. I'm Matt. I go by Nitro Weasel 3K. If you see me on anything, if you want to find me on social media, you can look for me, Nitro Weasel 3K. Sean?
My name's Sean, and this has been a good time.
Do you want to pimp your social media?
I'm in the process of it. You can find me on Twitter at GWS Rancor, and you can follow the website on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. You could just search NerdLife TX and you will find it. And that's my story. Nick?
I'm Nick, and I go by Zero Ping. You can find me at Z3R0PNG on the Twitters, and you can also find my articles on NerdLife TX.
Yep. So there you go. Just keep an eye on the site. When this goes up, as long as it goes well, we'll probably think about doing another. If you guys like it, make sure you let us know. If you hate our guts, let us know. If there's something you want us to do, if there's something that we could do better, or you want us to talk about a subject, or if you have a game or project you'd like us to review, go ahead and reach out to us. Let us know somehow. Find one of us on social media, or come to the site and let us know. So until next time, we appreciate you watching. Thanks a lot. Or listening. You're not watching. You're listening. Thank you.
They might be watching.
You.
Yeah, if you are watching, stop watching now because we're done.
Closing the windows. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Laters.
It's Mom Zone. Breaking news, the Fremont family declares where they're going for back to school.
The Fremonts are going with Academy.
Mrs. Fremont, why Academy over another store?
When my kids say they'll never use math in the real world, I just show them how low my Academy receipt is.
You have any other thoughts?
Look, back to school is a numbers game, and numbers don't lie.
Nobody starts your season with better brands and lower prices than Academy. Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less. Price match guarantee details at academy.com.
It's Mom Zone. Breaking news, the Fremont family declares where they're going for back to school.
The Fremonts are going with Academy.
Mrs. Fremont, why Academy over another store?
When my kids say they'll never use math in the real world, I just show them how low my Academy receipt is.
You have any other thoughts?
Look, back to school is a numbers game, and numbers don't lie.
Nobody starts your season with better brands and lower prices than Academy. Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less. Price match guarantee details at academy.com. 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 Details at academy.com.